when you're thinking about a lease purchase, you need to understand it. A lease purchase, believe it or not, actually has a useful purpose within the industry. But you have to understand going in, there are certain considerations that need to come into play. You, when you enter a lease purchase, they're usually, for the most part, easy to get into and easy to get out of. You're just go through their orientation and sign the paperwork, and you're in a truck. You need to understand that you're making weekly payments, but those are weekly lease payments. You're not gaining any financial stake in that truck. Once your lease is up, most of the time that will uh, put you into buy position. Say, for example, RE Garrison at the end of your roughly 3 year lease, then they'll work with you to get local financing set up through a local bank, and 18 to 24 months later, you'll have the title to that truck. But that's the only time that you're going to actually have a financial stake in that truck. During the term of your lease, that's exactly what it is you're leasing that truck from the actual owner of the truck. It's not something that you're working towards paying for on day one. You're just working towards paying for the lease. So it's no different than going to a car dealer and leasing a car. At the end of that lease, you have to turn that vehicle in. And if you want to buy it, well, then there is a purchase option. But it's usually not worth it. There's things that you have to keep in mind, and that's one of them. You know, you have added advantages because when you're an owner operator and you own the truck and you run under your own authority and such as that, you have obligations and commitments that come with that. So you have to find your own freight. You have to negotiate your rate. You have to have your own insurances. You have to file the annual UCR. You have your IRP stuff to deal with, and the list just goes on. So while you, as an owner operator, owning your own truck, running under your own authority, while you may get to handle a lot of money and a lot more money, whether you make any more money really depends on you and how well you negotiate your rates for each load. That's another thing that you have to keep in mind. Now your insurances are something you have to consider when you're independent owner operator, and that is going to be based on how much experience you have driving the truck. You how many accidents you've had, how many speeding tickets or DOT citations or whatever. All of those factor in what your rates are going to be monthly for your insurance, your physical damage, your cargo, all of that stuff. If you are independent owner operator running under your own authority, if you're on a lease purchase, you're running under that carrier's insurance, and all of that is factored in. I know that there's some companies that they will take out money for a maintenance fund and escrow and all of this kind of stuff, until you, and each one of those has a cap, like $5,000 or $2,500. There are some companies, I believe EOS is one of them, that there is no limit. They just take it out every week and it never stops. Whereas with other companies, if it has a cap, well, then they stop taking that out, once it reaches that limit, that cap, and they don't take it out again until you draw from that fund, whether it be for tires or routine maintenance or whatever. Whenever you draw from that fund, then they're going to start taking it out again to replenish that fund. And it's no different if you were running under your own authority. You have to plan for such as that, so you need to be setting that money aside. And so a lot of these lease purchase programs, they're setting that money aside for you. It's very easy to get out here and go bankrupt if you're not planning and setting aside. You don't have to really be concerned about all of that because it's being done for you under a lease purchase. So, there's, let's say, some insight as to things you need to consider whenever you're looking into a lease purchase program. So, just keep that in mind. And when you hear lease purchase program, it's not always a bad thing. There are some bad companies out there that have some horrible lease purchase programs, and some of them you'll never own the truck. There's others that, after you've been in the truck for 2 years, 3 years, it's got X amount of miles on it, they're going to take you out of that truck and put you in a brand new truck. So it's kind of like if you lease a vehicle from a car dealer. At the end of that lease, when the lease is up, you're going to turn the car in and you can flip it over and get into a brand new one for another 3-year lease or 2-year, whatever. And you're always in a new vehicle that's always under warranty. So, there's different ones out there. Some are horrible. Some are really not that bad. The worst part about any of them is that your earning potential is kind of limited by what they give you every week. So, they may tell you, well, you're going to get, 25, 2,800, maybe 3,000 miles in a week. And in reality, you may only be getting 2,000 miles a week, and that's happening, and you're not able to meet your obligations, then you need to talk to them and say, hey, we have to change some things, and I need to start running more miles, or I'm going to have to find somewhere else to go. But anyway, that's all for now. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little insight on things to consider whenever you're thinking about or you're starting to look into a lease purchase program. You guys take care. I'll see you down the road. Bye.